A very good morning to all of you. Already we have started two port networks. I am sharing the PPT and I told you to submit an assignment on two port network. Hope most of the students have submitted. Did you face any problem to do the assignment?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Okay, very good. PPT is visible to all of you?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
So at a glance, we have completed one port network, two port network, Z parameters, Y parameters, ABCD parameters, and the conditions for reciprocity and symmetry for all these. Now today I will explain inverse transmission parameters, that is A dash, B dash, C dash, D dash parameters, and hybrid parameters, that is H parameters, and the conditions for reciprocity and symmetry for all these parameters. The file is visible to all of you?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
So this is
Yes, ma'am.
inverse transmission parameters. Do you remember in case of impedance parameter, what was the relation between the functions? Anybody? V1, I1, V1, V2,
Because
that is
function of I1 I2.
I1, I2. Now, like this, inverse transmission parameters. What is inverse transmission parameters? In the case of Z and Y parameter representation, one is the dual of the other, right? Similarly, the transmission parameter and inverse transmission parameter are duals of each other. If instead of quantities V1 and I1, quantities V2 and I2 are expressed in terms of V1 and I1, the resulting parameters A dash, B dash, C dash and D dash are called inverse transmission parameters. Normal transmission parameters were ABCD parameters. Now one set of equations definitely you have to tell that would result when the voltage and current of the output port are expressed in terms of the voltage and current of the input port. So here what is the relationship? V2 comma I2, that is equal to function of V1 comma I1. Just note down it in your copy. Then if I ask any question, it will be helpful for you. So V2 comma I2, that is equal to function of V1 comma I1. Now the inverse transmission parameters of the two-port network, this is the figure, in this figure, having directions of voltages and currents as shown here. This is the two-port network, already I have told you. This is the direction of current minus I, because the direction normally is here in this direction, and this is I2. Here it is V1 to port number 1 and port number 2 is V2, that is 2 port and 4 terminals. During directions of voltages and currents shown in this equation, V2 that is equal to A dash V1, right? Because V2 and I2 is a function of V1, I1. So V2 is equal to some constant into V1 plus some constant into minus I2. Similarly, I2 equals to C dash V1 plus D dash minus I. So in matrix form, the equations can be written in this form: V2, I2, that is A dash, B dash, C dash, D dash. This is the matrix V1 minus I1. Yes.
V2 equals to A dash V1 plus B dash minus I1 হবে না ম্যাম ওটা? V2 I2 function of
Yeah.
V1
It will be
and
I2.
I1.
Sorry. Yes. It will be I1. Correct it. It will be I1. It was a mistake. Now come here. So what is A dash? What is A dash? So A dash will be equal to what? একজন বলো V2 by
V1 when I1 equals to 0.
I1 equals to 0. Similarly, what is B dash?
V2y minus I2 when V1 equals to 0.
I2, not I2, I1.
Oh,
It is wrong.
Minus I1, ma'am.
V2 by minus I1 provided V10, right?
V10. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Then what is C dash?
I2
I2 by
minus
I2 by V1 provided
provided I1 equal to
I1 equals to 0, right? What is D dash?
I2 by minus I1.
Where V1 equals to 0.
when V1 is
Yes,
0.
Right. If I1 equals to 0, then you are getting two parameters, A dash and C dash. And
Yes,
if
ma'am.
V1 equals to 0, you are getting other parameters, that is B dash and D. Up to this, it is clear. So again, I am telling you the inverse transmission parameters can be defined as like this. এবার প্যারামিটারের নামগুলো দেখে নাও। A dash equal to V2 by V1 already have told I1 equals to 0. Forward voltage ratio. This is the ratio of two voltages. Hence, it is called forward voltage ratio with sending end open circuited. I1 equals to 0 means this is open circuited, right now?
Yes, ma'am.
V2 0 means, but V whatever voltage 0 means that that port will be short circuited. The current 0 means open, voltage 0 means short. Now come to C dash parameter. Forward voltage ratio with sending and open circuited. Sending and open circuited means I10 already here it is written. So C dash equal to I2 by V1. So common sense ki bole etar unit ki hobe? What is the unit of C dash?
Mho, ma'am.
Mho.
Mho.
What is the unit of A dash?
And no unit, ma'am.
No
No
unit.
unit, ma'am.
Because ratio of two same items.
Yes,
Now
ma'am.
transfer admittance with sending and open circuited. That is C dash. Then what is B dash?
Ohm.
V2 by minus I1, that is V10. And this parameter is called transfer impedance with sending and short circuited. V10 means sending and short circuited, right? So V10. Then ultimately what is D dash? That is I2 by I1. Because two parameters are the same types of parameters, the ratio will have no unit. Already you have told. So this is D dash is called forward current ratio with sending and short circuited. Because V10 that is short circuited. Now again you have to come the condition for reciprocity and symmetry. In case of this parameter, inverse transmission parameter. So similarly in the previous manner you had to one condition of reciprocity and symmetry. Do you remember? This will be Vs will be here, and in another case Vs will be here, and after that you have to compare on the replacement of Vs, interchanging of Vs here and there will be what is the relationship right now. For the network to be reciprocal, use the principle of reciprocity. When a voltage source Vs is applied at the sending end, this is the sending end, and the receiving end is shorted. This is shorted, receiving end. Shorted means K0, voltage 0, right now. So here V2 equal to 0. সেটাই লেখা হয়েছে V1 equals to Vs and V2 equals to 0, I2 equals to minus I2 dash. So Vs is the cause while I2 dash is the effect. Then 0, if we use the where is it? V2 equals to 0, then you will get A dash Vs minus V dash I1. Similarly, minus I2 dash that is equal to C dash Vs minus D dash I1. You will do it in your copy, then it will be clear. And after simplification, you will get it I2 dash by Vs that is equal to A dash B dash minus B prime C prime divided by B prime. So interchanging the position of excitation and responses as shown in the figure 2b. This is the 2b. This is the interchange of excitation. Here it was port 1 and here it is port 2. This is the result here port 2 and this is the result was port 1. So this is the interchange of excitation and the result. So the interchanging the position of excitation and responses shown in the figure 2b, V1 equals to 0 right now. Here V1 equals to 0 and V2 equal to what? What is V2?
VS, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Vs, right? This is Vs and I1 equals to minus I1 dash. Hence, Vs will be equals to BI1. If you put the value in the matrix, you will get Vs equal to BI1. So I1 dash by Vs, obviously that is 1 by V. In order to make the network reciprocal, what to do? The left hand sides of equation 1 and 2. This is the equation 1 and this is the equation 2 should be identical. This leads to the condition A prime B prime minus B prime C prime equals to 1. In case of direct transmission parameter, normal transmission parameter, what was the condition for reciprocity? Anybody?
AD minus BC equal to 1.
Right. Here A prime B prime minus B prime C prime, that equals to 1. So this is the matrix form.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. This is the condition for the network to be reciprocal. From the definition of symmetry, from the Z parameter point of view, Z11 equal to Z22. You remember? So V1 by I1, I2 equals to 0. That is equal to V2 by I2, I1 equals to 0. Basically, Z22 means V2 by I2, provided I1 equals to 0. And Z11 means V1 by I1. Just একটুখানি দেখো এখানে minutely 1 means 1 by 1. 2 means 2 by 2, right now?
Yes, ma'am.
So when I1 V1 by I1, definitely I2 equals to 0. So Z11 equal to V1 by I1 provided I2 0, that is equal to D prime by C prime, and Z22 that is V2 by I2 provided I1 equals to 0. And ultimately you will be able to get, if you calculate A prime V1 minus B prime I1 by C prime V1 minus D prime I1 provided I2 equals to 0. That will be equals to A prime by C prime. So if you compare this A prime C prime, D prime C prime, if both are equal, what will happen? C prime same, then definitely A dash will be D dash, right now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
ম্যাম এখানে আরেকবার বলবেন, এখানে বুঝতে পারিনি।
হ্যাঁ, see the equation. Yusuf বলছো না?
Yes, ma'am.
Z2 equal to
Yes,
what? Forget about everything. Z2 equal to what? A prime by C prime, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And Z11 equal to what? D prime by C prime.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, if you want to make a symmetry, then Z11 will be equal to Z22.
Yes, ma'am.
That is, this will be equal to this.
Yes, ma'am. D dash
So
by C
D
dash.
prime, C prime common. Definitely A prime will be D prime.
Yes, ma'am.
Now it is clear.
Yes, ma'am. হ্যাঁ ম্যাম, এবার বুঝলাম। আচ্ছা আচ্ছা।
Okay. So we have completed inverse transmission parameter. তাহলে একটু রিক্যাপ করে নাও, in case of inverse transmission parameter আমার ফাংশনটা কি ছিল? Anybody else?
V2 I2 equal to function of V1 I1.
অর্জুন কি ঠিক বলেছে? বাকিরা?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
চলো, তারপরে আমরা কি বললাম? Condition of reciprocity and symmetry.
Yes,
Or
ma'am.
after telling Arjun that this equal to the function of that, after that we have derived the matrix form from the function. And what are the parameters you have got? Making what?
A prime, B prime, C prime, and D prime.
You have got the parameter making I1 equals to 0 and
Or V1 equal to 0.
that is sending end will be open circuited when I1 equals to 0 and V1 equals to 0 means sending end will be short circuited. Now it is clear. Now come to hybrid parameters. So up to this, how many parameters you are acquainted with?
4 parameter.
Z parameters,
Four
Y
parameters.
parameter,
Y parameter,
Impedance
parameter,
impedance parameter. তারপরে কি parameter?
Y parameter.
Y parameter. ওটাকে কি parameter বলে?
admittance parameter,
Transmission or ABCD parameter.
Transmission or ABCD parameter. আজকে কি পড়ানো হলো?
inverse transmission,
Inverse
Inverse
transmission.
transmission parameter. Okay, students, now we come to hybrid parameters. So similarly, the other parameters, there will be a relationship between two, left hand side and right hand side functions. So come to hybrid parameters. The hybrid parameters, that is called H parameters, would find wide uses in electronic circuits, especially in constructing models of for transistors. Do you remember that transistor? Have you studied it in the first year? Basic electronics? No.
ম্যাম আমাদের বেসিক ইলেকট্রনিক্স ছিল না।
তাহলে কি তোমরা have you studied in high secondary? I mean 12?
ম্যাম আমরা এবার ইলেকট্রনিক্স টাতে পড়ছি ট্রানজিস্টর।
ও যেটা তোমার ওই ইয়েতে পিকে স্যার পড়াচ্ছেন অ্যানালগ, রাইট?
ইলেকট্রনিক্স।
ইয়েস। তাহলে ওখানে কি তোমরা এইচ প্যারামিটার পেয়েছো?
Yes, ma'am.
Page. Okay. So this is the hybrid parameters. The hybrid parameters would find wide uses in electronic circuits, especially in constructing models for transistors. One set of equations result when the voltage of the input port and the current of the output port are expressed in terms of the current of the input port and the voltage of the output port in the form. এবার এটা একটু লিখে নাও তো, এই যে রিলেশনশিপ, the function relationship V1, I2 that is equal to function of I1, V2. Have you written this?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, chalo. So similarly, this is the two-port network. This is the sending end. This is the receiving end. This is the port number 1. That is V1. This is port number 2. That is V2 here. And this is current I1 in the port 1. This is current I2 in the port 2. Now the hybrid parameters of the two-port network in the figure here, having the directions of voltage and current are shown in this figure. Now if we express the parameter small h, এবার একজন বলো তো what will be V1 if you put it in case of small h, যেমন ABCD parameter A B C D it was, so here the parameters is terms of small h. So what will be V1? Anybody else?
Ma'am, H11 I1 plus
H12 V2.
Right. What will be I2?
H21 I1 plus H22 V2.
Right. And what will be the matrix?
H11 H12 H21 H22 and the other will be I1 V2.
I1 I2.
And
I1 V2.
I1
I1
V2.
right hand side it will be V1 I2, and in left hand side it will be V1 I2, and right hand side it will column will be I1 V2.
I1.
Right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Thank you. Now the hybrid parameters can be defined. আমাকে একজন বলো এবার what is H11?
V1 by
Ma'am,
I1
V1 by I1 when V2 is 0.
The V20 means what is মানে basically what is this V20 মানেটা কি না?
Short circuit
Short circuit.
impedance.
A short circuit.
second port, ma'am.
Port 1.
I
2
Second port, ma'am.
এটাকে কোন এল বলে?
port to short circuit.
Port to short circuit মানে এটাকে কোন পোর্ট বলে?
Receiving port, ma'am.
Receiving port.
Receiving port.
Then what is the if V2 is 0, that is receiving port is shorted, end is shorted, that is port 2 is shorted, then one other parameters what you will get? A V2 0 করলে দুটো প্যারামিটার ইউসুফ বলো তো আরেকটা কি প্যারামিটার ইউ গেট? এই ইউসুফকে বলতে দাও, let him speak. Yusuf, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
বলো if V2 equal to 0, Naina এটা কি বললো if V2 equals to 0, then what will be the result? H11 will be equal to V1 by I1, right? Again if V2 equal to 0, what the parameter you will get?
Ma'am, hybrid parameter.
Are you listening what I am studying you?
Ma'am, আর একবার বলুন ma'am.
Why are you not listening, Yusuf? Be careful. This is the equation. From this equation you are getting what? H11. The H11 equal to what? তুমি বলো
I1 by V1 when I2
I1
when
by
V2
V1.
equals to V. The V1 by I1, sorry ma'am. V1
Provided?
by I1
Provided
when V2 equals to 0.
Yes. If again V2 equals to 0, then what is the parameter you will get? Come to the next equation. This equation. If V2 equals to 0, then what is the parameter you will get?
I1 by I2.
ঠিক করে বলো। প্যারামিটারটা কি পাবো? কোন h প্যারামিটারটা পাবো? Which h parameter you will
H21.
get? H21. Very good. H21 equal to what?
I2 by I1.
H21.
বোঝা গেছে এসব? I2 by I1, right?
H21 is equals to I1 by I2.
আবার I1 by I2 বলে।
हाँ मैम I2 by
Provided,
I1 sorry I2 by
provided,
I1 मैम sorry मैम I2 by I1
provided
V2
when V2
2
when
equals
V2
to
equals to
0.
0
V2 equals to 0. Now come to I1 equals to 0. একজন বলো যদি
হ্যাঁ ম্যাম
I1 equals to 0 হয় তখন কি কি প্যারামিটার পাবো?
H1 to
H1
H22.
V1 by V2
H12 and
V1
H22.
by V2
H12 and H22
I1 equal to 0.
H1 পূর্বিতা বলো H1 equal to what?
H12 equal to V1 by V2 provided I1 equal to 0.
I1 equals to 0 means
Open
which one
circuit.
is open circuit?
Sending and open circuit.
Sending and open circuit. Okay.
Open circuit.
তখন যাকে কোয়েশ্চেন করব she or he will tell. ওকে বাকিরা চুপ থাকবে। তাহলে V2 equal to 0 করে আমি কি পেলাম? H11.
H12. Another will
I1
get
equals to 0. Again I1 equals to 0, then it's the parameter.
another will get H22 parameters that is equal to I2 by V2
Yeah.
provided I1 equal to 0 and I1 equal to 0 means sending and will be open circuited.
Okay. Up to this it is clear to all of you? কারণ কোনো প্রবলেম নেই?
না ম্যাম
তাহলে ফার্স্ট আমাকে কি করতে হচ্ছে? You have to remember the function. What is the procedure? You have to remember the function. ঐশিক বুঝতে পারছো? তাহলে you have to remember the function v1 comma I2 that is equal to this, and if you remember the function, then definitely you will be able to get the equation and in the matrix form, and from this equation it is very clear. If one parameter is 0, you will get two parameters like h11 and h21 when I1 equals to 0, and if v2 equals to 0, you'll be able to get I'm ভুল বললাম I1 0 means you will be able to get h12 and h22, and if v2 equals to 0, you will get h11 and h21. Up to this it is clear. Now the parameters name is like this. Input impedance with the output. Okay. Oh, this is very hazy. Okay, just note it. The forward current gain V with the output short circuited. This is current gain I2 by I1, right now? দুটো I এর ratio, তার মানে current gain output short circuited, that is V2 0. Now it is called reverse voltage gain with the input open circuited. Input open circuited means I1 0. এটাকে কি বলছি আমরা? রিভার্স ভোল্টেজ গেইন। তাহলে নরমাল ভোল্টেজ গেইনে কি হয়? এটা রিভার্স ভোল্টেজ গেইন কেন বলছি বলো তো কেউ একজন?
রিসিভিং এন্ডে আছে বলে।
হ্যাঁ, ওখানে আমার কি নরমাল ভোল্টেজ গেইনে কি ছিল বাবা? না না, আই এম সরি, ভোল্টেজ গেইন আমি এটা ভোল্টেজ হলে কি হয়? ভি বাই এটাকে নোটিস করো, this one আই এম সরি, this is called reverse voltage gain. কেন বলছি? এই এটা না, এই উপরেরটা, this is the voltage gain because this is the ratio of two voltages. তাহলে reverse voltage gain কেন বলছি?
এখানে v1 by v2 আছে, v2 by v1 নয়।
নরমাল ভোল্টেজ গেইন কি হলে হতো?
v2 by v1 হলে।
v2 by v1, that is conventional.
Yes ma'am.
Right. Now H22 is called what? Output admittance. Admittance কেন হচ্ছে? I by V, right now?
Yes ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
কেন বলছি? because এটা port 2 with the input open circuited. I1 0 means input open circuit. So you have got the equation H11 V1, H12 V2, H21 I1, H22 I2. দেখো তো পেয়েছো কিনা V2 H11 I1 H12 V2 H21 I1 H22 V2. This will be represented by the diagram here, that is in terms of hybrid parameters. This is the equivalent network. এগুলো কিন্তু পরীক্ষায় ড্র করতে হবে, জানো তো। যে তুমি আমার বেসিক জিনিস হচ্ছে ফাংশনটা তুমি যদি জানতে পারো তাহলে সব তুমি করতে পারবে, তাই না?
Yes, ma'am.
So the usefulness of the H parameter in representing transistors for determining H11 and H21 are made under short circuit conditions at port 2. Already you have done it. It is relatively more difficult to make measurements with port 2 open circuit. Just a explanation. Now, similarly, here will be the condition for reciprocity and symmetry, right? একটু আগে আমরা এবিসিডি inverse transmission parameter এ বলেছিলাম condition of reciprocity and symmetry. Here you also have to tell the condition for reciprocity and symmetry, and similarly for the previous one you have to consider this figure. This will be here one time and this source will be shifted here, that is excitation and response will be interchanged. এটা একবার হলো সেন্ডিং এন্ডে, এটা একবার শিফট হলো রিসিভিং এন্ডে, to prove the condition of for reciprocity. So for the network to be reciprocal, use the principle of reciprocity, apply a voltage source Vs at port 1 with port 2 short circuited. তাহলে যেই port 2 short circuited মানে সেখানে কি হবে, আমার পোটেনশিয়ালটা 0 হবে, V2 will be 0 and V1 equal to Vs we have already told, and I2 equal to minus I2 dash. Hence if you put the value you will get Vs equal to H11 I1 minus I2 dash, that is equal to H21 I1. Then what is the ratio I2 dash by Vs, that will be equal to H minus H21 by H11. This is one equation. Now interchange the position of excitation and response. তাহলে যেই তুমি পজিশনটা চেঞ্জ করলে তখন তোমার V2 টা Vs হয়ে গেল আর V1 টা 0 হয়ে গেল। V1 0 means the port 1 is short circuited, তাই না? So I1 equal to minus I1 dash. Now if you put the value V1 equal to 0, you will get minus H11 I1 dash plus H12 Vs. কি বুঝতে পারছো তো? এগুলো ইকুয়েশনে পুট করা হচ্ছে, এই যে ইকুয়েশন গুলো you have got it, এই ইকুয়েশনে পুট করা হচ্ছে, রাইট?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Right. এই তোমরা বুঝতে পারছো তাহলে ইকুয়েশনে পুট করা হচ্ছে। So I1 dash by Vs, that is equal to H12 by H11 from the definition of the principle of reciprocity. The left hand side of equation 1 and right hand and the 2 should be the same as leads to the condition for reciprocity. So what is the condition for reciprocity here? H21, that will be equal to minus
H1 minus H12.
এবারে মনে আছে ইম্পিডেন্স প্যারামিটারের রেসিপ্রোসিটির কন্ডিশন কি ছিল?
এই Z11 Z21 equals to Z12.
আচ্ছা, the condition for symmetry is obtained from the Z parameters, Z11 equal to Z22. এটা symmetry, এটা হচ্ছে symmetry. So Z11 equal to V1 by I1 and Z22 equal to V2 by I2 provided I1 0. So similarly, if you do the calculation, you will get H11 I1 plus H12 V2 by I1, I2 equals to 0. And if you take the H1 I1 common, H11 equal to H12 V2 by I2, I2 equals to 0. And H11 minus H12 H21 by H22. That is equal to delta H. What is delta H? H11 H22 minus H12 H21. You will do yourself and then it will be clear. So Z22 equal to V2 by I2, already you know, that is equal to 1 by H22. Now condition for symmetry ki bolechi, Z11 will be equals to Z22. So if you compare Z11 Z22, then what will be? Delta is equals to 1. Delta means what? H11 H22 minus H12 H21. So if you put it Here it will be H11, H12, H21, H2. So this is the condition for reciprocity and symmetry in case of hybrid parameters. So what we have explained here today, anybody can explain me? Today ki পড়া হলো?
Inverse transmission parameter.
What is the review today? Yeah, inverse transmission parameters.
The reciprocity and symmetry combination.
হ্যাঁ বলো।
তার ফাংশন গুলো পড়া হলো, সেখান থেকে এ প্রাইম, বি প্রাইম, সি প্রাইম আর ডি প্রাইম বার করা হলো। তারপরে আমরা সেখান থেকে রেসিপ্রোকাল আর সিমেট্রি কিভাবে পাবো সেই ক্যালকুলেশন গুলো,
কন্ডিশন ফর রেসিপ্রসিটি এন্ড সিমেট্রি সেটা বার করা হলো। তারপরে
ইকুইভ্যালেন্ট সার্কিটটা দেখা হলো। তারপরে আমরা চলে গেলাম হচ্ছে গিয়ে হাইব্রিড প্যারামিটার। সেখানে ফাংশন v1 i2 ইকুয়াল টু ফাংশন অফ i1 v2। সেখানে আমরা তারপরে h11 h21 h12 আর h22 টা বার করলাম। তার জন্য আমরা v2 একবার 0 করলাম, আরেকবার i1 টাকে 0 করলাম। তারপরে আমরা সেখানে রেসিপ্রসিটি থিওরেম রেসিপ্রসিটি
কন্ডিশন ফর রেসিপ্রসিটি এন্ড সিমেট্রি
সিমেট্রিকটা দেখালাম।
That's all for today.
Yes, ma'am.
Now we have to do a problem on that. And have you done the assignment? What I have told you?
Yes, ma'am. Submitted.
Yes, ma'am.
Submitted.
I think some of the students still now have not submitted.
Ma'am, students have not submitted.
Ma'am.
Again, they have submitted. Basically,
students. Ma'am, এখানে দুটো চেঞ্জ হবে খালি।
আচ্ছা, আমি যেটা করছি তাহলে এখন আমি ঠিক করে নিচ্ছি। সৌমদীপ মন্ডল, he has submitted?
No, ma'am, he has not.
Okay. ঋষভ সেন?
No, ma'am. ঋষভ আগেরটাও দেয়নি।
শুভ্রকমল রয়?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. শুভ্রকমল, তুমি কি লেট করে দিয়েছিলে?
হ্যাঁ ম্যাম, ওর জন্য আমার ওটা
ম্যাম আমারটা দেওয়া হয়নি, ক্লাসের পরে দিয়ে দিচ্ছি।
আচ্ছা, শুভ্রকমল। অর্কদ্যুতি সরকার?
হ্যাঁ, আমি দিয়ে দিচ্ছি ক্লাসের পরে।
মানে দাওনি এখনো, রাইট?
না
ঘোষ?
না দেয়নি।
না ম্যাম।
শুভ্রনীল সাহা?
হ্যাঁ, ইয়েস।
শুভ্রনীল, yes. Okay. Shubranil, why are you late? শুভ্রনীল?
ম্যাম, আমি কমপ্লিট করে ফেলেছিলাম, বাট পিডিএফ বানানো হয়নি বলে আমি লিখে দিলাম।
ম্যাম,
আর কালকে রাতেই দিয়ে দিয়েছি।
Okay. Now come to Rupam Bhattacharya.
No, ma'am.
No. Nuwajis Latif?
No. বাকি যেগুলো আছে সব no.
অনির্বাণ মন্ডল? No. Abhinay? No. So who are left to submit the assignment? Today definitely will submit it. Okay? Yes or no? Those who are present over here but not
yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Positively will submit the assignment. Okay? Thank you.